Welcome to Just Break Up, the podcast about love, heartbreak, and all the relationship advice you don't want to hear. My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we're going to answer a letter from somebody who is looking for more reassurance. But before we begin, we just want to give you our Surgeon General's warning, which is that Sierra and I are not licensed mental health practitioners.
Definitely not. Not even close. Never been, never was, never will be. So please take our advice as you see fit. We are not professionals. We're just here to offer our humble musings to hopefully shed some understanding and maybe some laughs on the incredibly rewarding, but mostly confusing experience that is love. Okay, before I dive into today's check-in topic, I want to remind everybody that if you're not already subscribed to our Patreon for extra content, extra ad-free content, we also do a monthly Zoom hangout. We call them our office hours, and at them, it's like a super fun, intimate Zoom hangout session, I guess is the not very cool way to describe it. But we hang out with y'all, we answer your questions live, and they are just Sam and I's like favorite thing right now. They're so fun. They fill up our cups. They make us feel so connected to you all. So if we haven't answered your letter on air or on the Patreon episodes, you can join us. The next one is happening on Tuesday, August 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And you can join us over on Patreon for $10 a month. We'll give you access, or $5 annually. But yeah, check that out. Patreon.com/justbreakup.
Love it. Great plug.
Thanks. I genuinely, I feel like they're Just Breakup's best kept secret, because what do we, it's like anywhere between, I don't know, 10 and 10 to 20 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But they're just so much fun. You and I both talk, independently about how much we love them. So yeah. Okay. Today's check-in topic, it's Monday. So we're going to do a check-in topic, and we're going back to our meme review, or our relationship advice from the internet review, or more specifically from Instagram series. And today I've pulled out some memes from an account called relationship_help 90s. Like maybe it's like for people born in the 90s or from the 90s. Don't really know. But here we go. So the first one is: a wise man once said, if another girl ever steals your man, there's no better revenge than letting her keep him. Real men can't be stolen. So there's a lot to unpack here.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
let
love
me know how you feel about that.
It's a wise man who said this, right? Like,
yes.
we can't even imagine a wise woman being part of this conversation.
Never met one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of like stealing people is a little bit suspect.
Bizarre.
Right? It's a little bit weird.
It's just our pain. It's our pain screaming.
For
that
sure.
We, if somebody came and Willow fell in love with them and she left me for them, I would feel like they took my happiness or my security or whatever. But we're not.
For sure. Absolutely.
We're not flags in flag football. Like we can't like.
Yeah, like your significant other is not like a football that can get like taken from you and run the other direction, right? Like it is not quite like that. I do agree with the idea of like, if someone doesn't want to be with you, like let them go, right?
Yeah.
Like that person is choosing not to be with you. So like, don't spend time trying to like win them back or like trick them back into loving you.
Yeah.
And my guess is that real men probably do cheat or whatever. So I don't know how we're defining real in this scenario.
I know. I'm imagining like the bags, the like the Louis Vuitton bags, and then there's like knockoff bags. You know what I mean? I've got like a knockoff version.
Of a man.
But nobody can tell, Oh my God. Gender is just a drug that we're all obsessed with.
It's
Okay,
really stupid.
here we go. This next one is it's a carousel, so it's a slide. Multiple slides. So it's quite a lot to unpack, but it's a juicy one.
Okay,
From
great.
the same account, it's if someone doesn't text you back within an hour or two. First slide. They are ignoring you. No one is without
Someone
their phone
with
for
an
hours.
anxious attachment style wrote this.
Yeah. You know what's so good is that the hashtags that are linked to this account is hashtag girl power, hashtag high value woman, hashtag high value God, hashtag feminist, hashtag feminine, hashtag feminine needs, hashtag Kevin Samuels, hashtag goddess, hashtag divine feminine, hashtag femininity, hashtag self-love, hashtag goddess glow up, hashtag level up coach. Literally, I'm halfway through.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
There's so many more. Hashtag vagina power is one of them. Hashtag dating tips. Yeah, anyway, so.
That is a lot of hashtags.
Okay.
Really doing
moving on. Well, moving on in this thing, saying they're ignoring you. People make time for who they want to make time for. And when someone tells you they're too, quote, busy, it's not a reflection of their schedule. It's a reflection of your spot on their schedule. That is a fucking divisive hot take. And then it goes on to say, don't be someone's downtime, spare time, part-time, or sometime. If they can't be there for you all the time, they're not even worth your time. Yeah, go ahead. Sam's kidding.
It's clever. It's very clever. I will give them that. I think that there is something to say about like the idea of like if somebody wants to be with you, they'll make time for you. Like,
You're being generous. You're being generous.
But I also am like, people have lives that are not us, and that's okay, right? Like, I don't.
That's toxic. That meme is fucking hella toxic.
And also, like, the person shouldn't have to be at your beck and call all the time. They are allowed to live their lives outside of you and not respond to you for an hour because they're at a movie or like not in a place that they want to respond
or
at this
at
moment
work.
or talking to their friend or whatever it might be. And also, like, I think there's a difference between like not responding immediately to a text and ignoring someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, I need to respond to that and I will do it soon is like a different vibe than being like, oh, I'm not going to talk to that person. You know, like there's more nuance in there than obviously what is presented on this Instagram account.
Right. I also think that it's like why I say the easy line of toxic is like to assume that somebody, when they say that they're busy, that there's lying. Like some sort of
yeah that's toxic.
It's a little, I like feel like a little you want to isolate this person from their friends, career, you know.
Absolutely. And there's like a difference between like standing up for yourself and being like, oh, this person's not making enough time for me versus like this sort of like I am only made better if I vilify the people I'm dating, right? Where I'm like I present this that's like me versus you type of thing, as opposed to like, oh, this isn't working. You know, like I need more from this. I deserve more from this. Not like, oh, don't settle for somebody who is like somehow not giving you with their 100%, which is that they are responding to your text within an hour, every single time you text them.
Okay, so this is another carousel one. Signs he'll be great in bed. So this will be good.
Okay.
So I want you to like think, about your best sexual experiences and see if it lines up. He'll be great in bed if he pays attention to your feelings.
Oh.
Out the gate. That's a surprise for me.
I really thought we were going to go in a different direction.
Antithetical. Yeah.
I was like,
doesn't care about
in your
my
open
feelings.
mouth, right? Like,
That is so funny. When a guy does not care about how you feel in general, then he is not going to care how you feel in bed. Absolutely disproven by my lived human sexual experience.
That is real. That's real.
Their next claim. He isn't selfish. Does he share his dessert with you and offer to pay for the meal? If he's selfish when you're out at dinner, he'll be selfish in the bedroom too. Listen, selfish ain't a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just like thinking about the sex that I've had, and I'm like, yeah, selfish kind of works sometimes.
Yeah. He's a great kisser. If a man knows how to kiss you well, he'll be good in bed also, period. The period was written out. I actually strongly disagree with that one.
Oh.
Well, just like they're not correlated. He's not in a rush. I don't know. Okay. A man who's truly interested in being your lover will know your worth for the wait. Oh, not like moving fast in bed, but like not in a rush to do you.
Got it. This is really written by a person who has a particular point of view around what sex should look like, or like what good sex looks like. Because
this is the next one that you're gonna absolutely hate. He makes serious, intense eye contact with you.
No,
that eye contact will be so intense you'll feel yourself melting. All right, I feel like we're getting a little subjective here.
Like we're very subjective. You don't need to. Like at dinner, just making really intense eye contact with me.
Off the rails. This next one. When he talks, does he use his hands? When a guy is good in bed, he'll have a tendency to talk with his hands.
Is that true?
No. Like what? Anyway, and then. Just to cap off this episode or this iteration of this meme rating series, the end of all of these memes were bookended with a slide that said, if you feel like you're losing your spark in your relationship and your man is pulling away, let me tell you about a strangely powerful method that changed everything for me. Just watch this quick video that I believe has the potential to be truly life-changing for you. Link in my bio. So do we think we should watch the link or save it for another episode? Oh my God. The link in their bio is like some sort of, link tree sort of thing. It's / make him chase you.
Oh no. This is
88,000 followers. 88,000 followers.
This is wild. This is just
anyway.
Like, there's a really good episode of If Books Could Kill about the rules, which is like the sort of like the game, but for women. So like, how can women sort of like trick men into like loving them? And a lot of it is like very similar stuff around this of like play hard to get, like make him pay for everything, like withhold sex, right? Like all of this stuff that's like also present in here. And it's like created this whole movement around like very retrograde feminism type thing of like the way that we make it in the world is by like being like very traditional women and like treating men like really poorly and like, right, like doing all these things that are sort of like not sex positive in any way. And it feels like this is all very, very tied together. This like branch of the internet.
A terrible place for all of us. Okay.
Thank you for listening to this episode of our podcast.
On the internet.
Yeah.
The communal hell that brings us all together.
So true.
Okay.
So true.
Let's get into today's letter. This letter is from Kinsuki Love, whose pronouns are she, her, who is writing to us from their bedroom floor. Am I insecure or just want reassurance? Or does reassurance route from insecurity? I, 27, female, she, her, have been with my boyfriend, he, him, 27, for almost 2 years now. Let's call him Babe. He's my first serious adult relationship, going on vacations together, meeting family, rolling him out when he got his wisdom teeth removed, the usual. To paint a picture, he is a Leo and an only child. That means literally nothing to me, but I do love when we're like, let me give you a shorthand to how shitty my partner is, or like, let me give you a shorthand to their personality. And we all have our own understandings. I don't really know what are Leos like?
Leos love attention.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. They're like the sun. They like want to be the center. They want people to like, and it's really hard to not be around Leo energy or like to ignore Leo energy because they tend to be kind of the center of the conversation.
All right. I can feel the unsubscribing coming from all of our Leo listeners.
All the Leos are like, what the hell?
I'm going to go call one of my friends.
Honestly, as a Gemini, you and I actually get along with Leos really well because we become incendiary with them because we're like an air sign and they're a fire sign. So like we make their fire grow bigger.
Fire bigger.
Yep.
Cute. Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway, he's a Leo and an only child. So that's quite a combo to have to deal with in an intimate relationship because let's just say it, he's selfish.
Okay.
Wow. We went from the shorthand to the very direct. I have a very big heart, maybe even to a fault. Kindred spirits with Sierra. I too have gotten into debt for a relationship. I wake up early to do nice gestures like make coffee and prep his meals. I plan all of the dates and I initiate us spending time together. I'm a stage 5 clinger, but I have since calmed down from my early 20s and now I do my own thing some days so he can have quality time alone. We do not live together and there is no plan to move in together even after potentially if or when we hit the 3-year mark. This is all to say, I don't know where our relationship is going. I'm very type A and I like plans. And yes, I romanticize what I would like my life to be like. I'm not in a rush to get married. I just want some sort of progression in our relationship. I communicate my grievances when I have them and I would like certain needs met. He'll do it for a moment and then he'll stop. I'll gently remind him. And then after months of gently reminding him, I'll start to crack. I get annoyed and upset when he doesn't go out of his way to do things for me. And he's even made comments during heated discussions like he, quote, misses the old confident me. Boy, I am confident. I can get it, you know. I have in the past and I can in the future. Let's not get it twisted. For context, I've never said that to him, but it's important to know. One of my main issues is when I'm in clear distress, I have high anxiety, he'll just kind of ignore it. And then I get more upset that he isn't comforting me and ask him why. And he'll say, I don't know how to deal with your emotions. For God's sakes, there is a whole wiki how on how to comfort someone. After rereading this last paragraph, I'm making him out to be an Andrew Tate enthusiast. I swear, he's ambitious, academic, and funny. He lacks emotional intelligence, and I'm not over here trying to mother a grown-ass woman. So, to circle back and end this tumultuously vague description of my relationship, are we just not compatible? All I'm asking for is some reassurance from my boyfriend, reassurance of any kind. Because if we're not aligned, what's the point of us being together? I want an us, not a me and babe. Sorry if this was confusing. I'm just trying not to make it not too long. Even if you don't read this on the podcast, it was cathartic to type it out. Any humble musings would be appreciated, and I love everybody on the JBU team. I've been listening to y'all since the beginning, and JBU is a part of my day-to-day and self-growth journey. With love, Kitsugi.
All right, Kintsugi, thank you so much for writing us and for trusting us with this question. I'm sorry that you're feeling so unseen and uncared for in your relationship. I think it's really natural for people to want reassurance from their romantic partner or partners, from their friends, from their loved ones, and, needing reassurance when we are upset or anxious or feeling some sort of big feeling is normal and reasonable. And asking for love and support in those moments, I think, is something that we should do in order to feel more connected to our partners and to other people around us. So I'm sorry that that's not being reciprocated for you. Sierra and I are going to talk about some things that you might think about or work on, talk about with your partner in just a minute. But before that, we're going to take a short break.
All right, my darling. Thank you so much for writing and trusting us with this letter. I want to echo everything that Sam said before I dive into some maybe reframing or some advice. I constantly have to tell myself that it is absolutely okay to want reassurance, to have your partner echo back or reinforce your reality that things are okay, or that they're there for you, that they maybe don't understand what's going on, but are here for you to process your emotions with, that is all very okay. And in the same moment, in the same breath, because two things can be true at the same time, there also has to be space in your relationship for your partner to not be a mind reader and to not be perfect all the time. It sounds like you have a very particular understanding of what love and caretaking and emotional support looks like. And honestly, that version of those things for you sounds lovely. Sounds like you are a lovely person to be in a relationship with. Sounds like you go above and beyond to center the other person in your life, even decenter yourself and center them. But us anxiously attached folks know that is only sustainable for so long. Even when in your paragraph, you write, I used to be a stage 5 clinger, but that's calmed down. And now sometimes I do things on my own some days, so he can have his quality alone time.
Yep.
That tells me that you're doing those things on your own as a gift to him and not a gift to you, which is okay and is deeply relatable. I'm definitely an outside-inside person.
For sure.
I look to the outside temperature before I look to the inside temperature. I do things, I orient my day around other people's needs before my own. And also, I know that can put me in a really, really tough position sometimes, particularly when my loved ones don't move through the world with the same constant, quote, self-sacrifice that you and I do.
Yep.
Let's bring up my favorite story about the fucking towels. Okay. One day, Willow and I were going to the beach or the lake or something, and we get there, and she has only packed one towel. Meanwhile, we live together. We have a communal bag where we were throwing sunscreen and snacks and water bottles and stuff like that. But my wife went to the towels and picked one towel for herself and saw the other multiple towels for other people and was like, no, I'm just taking care of myself. This blew my mind. This blew my mind. I could not. I was like...
Maybe she thought, Sierra is a self-sufficient human and probably grabbed a towel for herself. So I'll
that is 100% what she thought. Or she thought, I'm going to get a towel for myself.
Yeah,
but I interpreted it as, and this is me like calling myself out. I mean, I can laugh about this story forever. But I calling myself out or calling myself into some self-reflection, it's not like she went there and thought, I'm only getting a towel for myself. I'm not getting one for Sierra. Your boyfriend, letter writer, isn't always moving through the world and choosing not to love you the way you love him. He's not actively choosing to not engage in quality time and affirmation and gift giving and all of these things that you do. He's just moving through the world the way he moves through the world. I'm fast forward to the end of this episode. I'm going to affirm you and tell you, you deserve everything that you want. You deserve reassurance. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You deserve emotional connection. You deserve emotional maturity from this man. You don't deserve to mother your boyfriend. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And also, I know that sounds like we're very similar. And I often fall into the trap of expecting people to have the same decentering of themselves. Mm-hmm. And then I take it as like an affront to me that they don't self-sacrifice the way I self-sacrifice. Does that make sense? Do you see
absolutely.
That in this letter, Sam?
Yeah, no, I absolutely do see that in this letter. I mean, even the example that you give of like, I've gone into debt for people that I love, right? Like this idea of like, I have a big heart even to a fault. And I think one of the things that like Sierra and I have talked about a lot is like the idea of overextending yourself as a way to like get people to like love you back in the way that you wanted to be loved. But all that does is like overextend yourself and create resentment, because you're not necessarily doing it because you love them. You're doing it because you want a specific response back from them. And so like, then when they don't give it back to you, then you're like, well, I did all this stuff for you that you didn't ask for, that you like, that I'm just like doing over and over to try and show you that I love you. Or maybe that you did ask for, but that I should have said no to, or that I should have had a boundary about, because I'm trying to get you to do the same thing back to me so that I know that you'll love me.
Yes.
And like that comes, and I think one of the things that like, at least has been really profound for you in thinking about that too, is like, that doesn't come from a place of love. That comes from a place of like centering yourself, right? Like even as you're doing,
it's transactional.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's transactional, and that's okay. And you know what? I just want to say really quickly too that you said earlier, like you're not doing these things because you love them, but because you're trying to garner a certain response, and that's true. And it's both. It's that you love this person, and also you want to be loved by them, so you're loving them in the way that, you know what I mean. Like this isn't to say to the letter writer like that any of your love is misguided or selfish. It's that, you know, you and I at some point in our development were taught that we needed to earn our love, that this is how we find emotional security and connection. And to the point Sam's making, that can lead us astray, because then we start doing things or expecting things in like a transactional way, like I'm going to say I love you so that you say I love you back. You know what I mean? Instead of saying I want to say I love you to make it known how I feel, you know? And and there's some nuance there, and there's like, it's not like I wake up every day and I'm like, I'm going to manipulate my wife into loving me. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely, yes.
Of course I love her. I love being loving. I love the way I love. There's nothing wrong with the way you love. And also we can always trace back to our core attachments and wounds and insecurities in what we expect from other people. Because what I'm reading in your letter isn't, I don't know your boyfriend. I don't know this babe, this Leo babe, right? I know from what you're telling me that he's not giving you what you want. And I can also tell from what you're telling me that you have a very particular understanding of what that love and support looks like.
Yep.
This is a piece of advice, or maybe like a reframing, that isn't meant to justify your boyfriend's inability to be emotionally available to you. This is a tool or a reframing or like a thought prompt for you to take with you on your journey and be like, am I doing this because I want to do this? Am I doing this because I want something in return, or whatever gray area is in the middle of there? And am I expecting my partners or my loved ones to love me in the same self-sacrificing way that I love them? And am I being hurt when they're not? Am I being hurt when they have different boundaries than I do? That all being said, none of this reframing is to justify your boyfriend's inability to show up in emotionally mature and intelligent ways. Like,
no, for sure. I'm 100% with you. And I think that like we've been talking a little bit about like the self-growth piece of this advice. And now we're going to talk about like, here are the dynamics in your relationship and are they working for you? Bit of advice, which is like, it sounds like this man can't show up for you in the way that you would like him to show up for you. And right, like part of why we talk about like the self-awareness piece first is because then it helps us make decisions that are more in alignment with what we are looking for, what we want, right? So if you can look at this relationship and say like, maybe I am doing this thing where I overextend myself and then expect the same back from others. And what would it look like for me to not overextend myself anymore and actually like listen to and look for love in different ways? Because then you can say like, actually, I'm not getting any love out of this, right? Like, or I'm not giving love in the way that I need it, or I'm not getting love enough of it, or what it might be.
Even when I change my perspective and look for love in ways that I don't give it, I'm not finding it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And there are often, this is a common dynamic that I think for relationships between men and women, right? Where the woman is expected to mother, to do all of the emotional labor, to like make their meals for them, right? Like all of this stuff. And then the men get away with not having to be there emotionally, right? They are being mothered in lots of different ways.
Yes.
And like, I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for him either, right? I want him to be more self-sufficient. I want him to be able to emotionally connect with people on a deeper level. And so like, I think it's okay for you to look at this relationship and say like, I'm actually not getting what I want out of this. Like, I don't want to be with an emotionally immature person. I don't want to spend my 27th year of life mothering somebody that I'm dating. Like, that is an absolutely reasonable thing to say. And I think that there's a lot in this letter that I'm like, if you were my friend, I would be like, I don't know that this guy is going to give you what you need. And I think that he maybe needs some growing up, or he needs some time alone to take care of himself and learn those things so that he can be a better partner. Right. So I think it's like a little bit of both and here, where it's like, can we notice some of our patterns of, self-sabotaging in our relationships? And then when we see that those patterns are like not playing out, or we're aware of them and still not getting what we want, then like, I don't know that this is the right guy for you. Right. And I think it's totally reasonable for you I don't think that you're being like a crazy insecure person, right? Crazy insecure, all in quotes here, right? Where you're like, oh my God, I just need more. I'm insatiable in my desire for love. I think that this man is really not capable of giving it to you in the way that you can receive it. And it's okay for you to say like, that incompatibility means that this relationship isn't going to work. And it's okay for you to come to him and say like, the fact that you don't know how to handle my emotions is not like a character trait. It's like an incompetence, right? Like, it is a learned thing. You can learn how to handle somebody's emotions. It is something that you can develop. It's not like innate to you.
Let me add to that.
Unless, of course, he has some sort of neurodivergence, and in which case that is something that needs to be diagnosed, and you can absolutely find ways to be in relationship with folks who can't hold emotions in that way. And here's another reframing for you. Even if your boyfriend or partner or loved one, learns, you have a conversation between the two of you where you say, when you say you don't know how to deal with my emotions, that makes me feel you're not emotionally available for me during hard times. It's okay. I encourage you to ask him explicitly for what you want. Because like I said at the beginning, we're not mind readers. We are all moving through this world with different understandings of reality, different love languages, different childhoods, different attachments, So he just might not know specifically what you're asking because he's just a different person. And also, when you have this very intimate and important conversation where you say, I need you to be more available to me when I'm having hard times, that doesn't mean he's going to be able to solve those emotional peaks. Do you know what I mean? Yep.
I want to prepare you for a long-lasting love, for this relationship to be able to sustain years and years of big emotions, right? Because that's what life is going to guarantee us. Mm-hmm. And so when you have high anxiety and you get really upset that he isn't comforting you, you also have to know that his comfort isn't going to make your anxiety go away, okay? His comfort is going to make you feel less alone and more capable of accessing your tools of resilience and your tools of de-escalation and your tools of calming your nervous system down. I think we get really upset when our partners aren't giving us what we want, because a lot of times what we want is them to make things better. And that is like a very high standard to hold us to all the time. Yep. Not that our partners can't make things better. Not that his response to you right now as isn't inadequate, because it is. It's very, to say, I don't know how to deal with your emotions. Literally, bro, you can just say like, it sounds like you're going through a really hard time.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll be here with you as you experience these hard emotions. Like, you know what I mean? But just need? Again, shifting,
a hug,
because
a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm saying this like a fellow, my kindred spirit letter writer, like I'm saying this to you and to myself, that just because we know how to move into comforting spaces and we show our love by taking great actions to make people's lives better or days easier, feel better, doesn't always mean that people are going to have like the textbook answer to make all of our stress go away. In
Absolutely.
fact, we have to do that really hard work that we avoid our whole lives and turning inward and be like, what do I need to give myself right now?
For sure.
You know?
Absolutely. And you might be missing ways that he wants to be comforted too, right? Because you're just assuming that there's like a right or best way of doing this type of comfort, right? Where it's like, you're supposed to give me a hug. You're supposed to do all of these different things. When really there might be a bunch of different ways that he might need support that you're not giving because you're like missing the fact that that you're doing it in one way or one way in particular. So I think that taking the step back and looking at this in the way that Sierra is encouraging you to also equips you to be a better partner to him too, and to whoever else you might date after you break up with this man.
Yeah. It's, you deserve to be supported. You deserve to feel emotionally seen and validated in a reciprocal way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And also, we have a lifelong journey of figuring ourselves out and figuring our needs out and whatnot. So, we wish you the best of luck. We hope that this helps. And thank you so much for writing.
Absolutely. We love you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Like Sierra said, if you want more content from us, if you want access to our office hours, if you want ad-free episodes, you can get those all on Patreon. If you support us for as little as $5 a month, you'll get access to a bunch of great perks. That's patreon.com/justbreakuppod.
You can slide into our DMs, send us your favorite relationship meme, but most importantly, you can submit your questions about all matters of the heart at justbreakuppod.com, which is also where you can find our merchandise.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. This literally keeps our mics on and helps us reach more brokenhearted souls who need 2 random strangers giving them relationship advice.
Just Break Up is a production of Duvid Media, original music, recording, editing, producing, all magical things by our good friend Spencer Worth Davis. Make sure to check out his music and podcasts. And remember, it is absolutely understandable to feel discouraged when you want connection and that connection is unavailable due to someone's limitations, their schedule, their emotional intelligence. And at the same moment that we ask for more support, we need to look within ourselves and recognize what support we can give ourselves. What are we missing? What are we asking for? What can we give ourselves? And if all else fails,
just break up.